Hello and welcome. As you're sitting there thinking about moving into your second act, are you really struggling with that question of should I stay? Should I go? Are you making that pros cons list and you're just like, I don't know what I should do? And maybe you're out there polling other people. What should I do? Should I stay? Should I go? Maybe consensus by committee as to whether or not you should actually move into your second act. And what I want to talk to you about in this video is that if you're using that pros cons list, if you're really thinking in your head, trying to think through all the scenarios, that's the wrong tool for what we're going to do. When you're moving into your second act, you really need to switch your strategy. And that's what this whole video is going to be about, is giving you a different strategy that's much more effective and that will actually give you some pretty clear guidance as to whether or not you should stay or go. And I hope that you will go. That's my deep desire for you, because life is beautiful on this side. But let's talk about it right now. Is leaving the right decision for you right now? And that's what we're going to test, and that's what we're going to use this strategy for. So when we're talking about moving into your second act, it's not so much a logical decision, and I think that's what people really get stuck on. So what we're going to be talking about is moving away and using a different tool. We're using your imagination instead of your logic, because it's the wrong tool set for where you want to go. When you're sitting there using everything in your head, it's not going to get you where you want to go, because your head is really data driven and it's looking at the past, right? So you're trying to predict the future based on the past. But the things, the data in your past, like the past experiences you had, the way you've made decisions in the past, the factors that you had to take into account, those aren't the same things that are going to move into your future. So you're trying to use all this old data to predict a brand new future, and that's not going to work. And that's why we're talking about using your imagination and moving into looking at your energy. Because as I said, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that your second act, your currency is energy. It's not structure and money. It's a whole different field. It's using your body and being in tune with your body and having greater awareness, which is not something that helped you succeed so much over here. When you achieved a lot, you did a lot, and you used your logic, your brain, your ability to get things done. But over here in your second act, it's a softer feel, and it's more of an internal job. It's something that comes actually from your body. I'm not just talking about moving in with your head, but I'm talking about moving in with your whole body and checking in. And if you're one of those people that says, I have no ability to tap into my intuition, I don't even have ability to tap into my gut, I'm going to show you how you're wrong. So by the end of this video, we're going to do a very simple exercise, and you're going to realize, oh, I can do this. And you're going to get clarity, which is the whole point of this. So if you keep using the strategy you're using, the pros cons list, the really looking at things from every angle, you're going to find yourself in analysis paralysis, right? You're just going to be overthinking again because it's the wrong tool for the situation. So especially if you're one of my rulers out there, I'm a ruler. We're the type of people that really like to have structure, not even have structure, but get things done. We like to power through, make a decision. If you're an accumulator, you're the ones who really love the stability, and you love me a good list, right? And those archetypes really have to switch gears as they move into trying to make this decision, because the old tools, again, won't work for you. And if you don't know your archetypes, there's an assessment down below. I'll be weaving those in throughout this whole video. But again, there's a free assessment you can take to find out what your archetypes are and how they will help you make your decisions. So if you're trying to use your old strategy, your old data-driven strategy, what it won't do for you is like that, to do that list of pros and cons won't really get into your soul, into what feels in alignment. Your pros and cons can't give you peace, right? That doesn't show up in a pros and cons list. It doesn't give you room for creativity, room for invention, or actually reinvention. Like, you're going to become a new person. And so you're over here trying to make decisions based on old data, the old person, and can you see how that's never going to give you the results that you want? You're never going to get that clarity, and you're just going to spin over and over and over. So the past is what happens when you make a pro-con list. Your focus is on what happened in the past. When we move into the more of the imagination, it's a more open, more loose thing, and it allows you to look at the future. Because in order for you to envision a future, you have to use your imagination. You have to make it up. You can't look at past data, because that's, again, we're not looking for a new job. If your second act was to find a new job, then certainly you could use your past data, right? That would help you know what you liked and what you didn't like. But we're going into a whole new ballgame. Your second act is based on all different things. It's not based on how well you can do a spreadsheet. It's not based on how well you can run a meeting or win an argument or have a debate. Totally different. That's not even, those things don't even exist. And if you're one of my celebrities, I think one of the biggest questions you might be asking yourself is, who am I? Who am I going to be? Celebrity loves to have the spotlight, and they thrive on being the center of attention. And in a work environment, you probably have your strategies. You know how to do that. And you're like, if I move into retirement, where am I going to get that? Who am I? That's a big question. Celebrities really have a lot of problems moving into retirement because the blank slate just scares the heck out of them, right? How am I going to be the center of attention? How am I going to run the show in this new paradigm? And again, we're going to go through that. So I want you to relax, but I just want you to say, these are some of the things that are going on in your brain. And again, you're going to take your same archetypes with you into retirement. They're not going to leave you. You just need better strategies for how to get them the answers that they need, how to keep them calm, how to actually bring them to joy, because your old strategies aren't going to work. So if you're a ruler, you're sitting here thinking about your second act from a point of responsibility, right? You're thinking about, can I take care of all my responsibilities maybe before I go? Who will do my stuff after I leave? That's a big one. The rulers are really concerned about, if I'm not here, who's going to get all this done? And we all know that we're not irreplaceable. We all know that. But yet in your ruler type really just feels, this project's in flux. This is going to be a several-year project. Who's going to take it over? Who's going to take care of this person? Who knows all this stuff? That was always a big one. Who has all this past history that as we're planning for the future, like all this data that I know won't carry into the future? So rulers, you're very responsible. And then you're just sitting there stewing about, oh my God, what's going to happen? Who's going to do this? So you can see, once you start to know your archetypes, you can see what your hangups are. And that's where you can just say, you know what? Somebody will figure it out. That's the thing I said, is like, I wrote some really good notes on my way out the door. I made sure that everybody had like a checklist because I'm a ruler. And so that was my way to calm myself and say, okay, I've done the best I can, whether they follow my plans or not. It was a whole new world. Who knows what the future is going to be? But here's, at least I've given you my data and I can walk off. So knowing that archetype is really important for how you can tie up loose ends, how you can make this transition. And I did a whole video, and I put the link below, for how to ask yourself the right questions based on your archetype, because you'll need a new question in the second act. You'll know what your old question was, and you'll need your new question, and that's the filter that you see things through. So using our ruler example, where they might be saying, how can I leave? I have all these responsibilities. Who's going to do this when I'm gone? The ruler can ask a new question that says, what new responsibilities make joy more possible? Or what would it look like if my life had less responsibilities? Oh, what would my life look like if I had a fraction, like 10% of the responsibilities I had now? What if my life, I was only responsible for myself? Like, these are new questions that you can ask based on your archetype, and it changes your filter. It changes the whole way you look at your second act. So there's a video on that. I want you to dive into that, but that's the exercise I have here today is more about your imagination and not questions. But anyway, if we haven't met before, I'm Julianne Price with Life Edit and Design, and my whole goal is to help you move into that second act feeling hopeful, optimistic, joyful. Like, I just want you to ripple that higher energy, because my whole goal is to raise the energy of women, because as we vibrate at a higher level, all the people around us will be impacted, right? You walked into a meeting where somebody was upset, everybody dropped to that level. When you walk into a room with somebody who has energy and a high vibe, everybody rises to that level. And that's my goal, is to help you rise to that level, because all the people around you will come with you. You'll bring them with you. And that's how we'll heal our communities. Not by watching the news and the doom and the gloom and what's going to happen next, but by you being this high vibrating, vibrant woman who will then bring people along. So that's my goal. And you can find more at Life Edit and Design. But let's talk about what happens if you just keep using this old strategy. We talked about, you're going to be in analysis paralysis over and over and over. You're not going to make a decision because you're going to be in this circular. Your pros and your cons, your pros and your cons. Am I going to regret staying? Am I going to regret going? I don't know. You're just going to drive yourself nuts. You're going to have so much doubt in your own abilities because you're stuck in this cycle, this vicious cycle. You're not going to get anywhere. And your energy is going to start to drain. Like, that level of frustration takes your energy down. The fact that this decision is out there and hasn't been made. You're making more lists, you're talking to more people, but you're not getting anywhere. Because again, we're using the wrong strategy when you're trying to do it all from logic and all from that past filter. And you're actually going to start to resent having to even think about it. Like, I don't even want to think about it. I'm just too busy. I cannot sit there and think about moving into retirement because I just have too much on my plate. Those are all stories that are going on in your head because you're not getting the relief and the clarity of a solution. You're not seeing, what do I really want? What is the right decision for me? Because maybe it is to keep on working, but maybe it's not. And if you're watching this video, I have a strong feeling that it's probably not. It's probably okay. It's probably time for you to move on. But again, we're going to get to that shortly. So don't keep delaying your joy by sticking with this old strategy. That was my main point for you today. Old strategy, data-driven, pros, cons list, not going to work. So what's going to happen when you use this new tool and this new exercise? You're going to get clarity. You're going to actually know on a different level, not in this logical level, but on a body, soul-driven, aligned level, you're going to know whether the decision to stay or go is right for you. You're like, okay, well, stop talking, give it to me. All right, let's dive into it. So this is the exercise. Ready? So we're going to be using our imagination. And if you're somebody who says, I have no imagination, I just can't do it, this is not going to be for me, I want to give you one quick test, pre-test, just to prove that you can do it. So I want you to close your eyes or stare at a point on the floor and picture a green book. Just picture in your head a green book. Could you do it? If you could do it, then you know how to use your imagination. Now, everybody's going to picture a different green book. Like some people are going to have a big book, some people are going to have a leather book, some are going to have a notebook. Doesn't matter. But you were able to picture a green book. That shows you that you can do this. So that's all you need, is that ability to visualize something in your head. So we're going to do an exercise. It's called timelining. I actually picked this up from Dan Millman. And it's just a fun way to get that clarity, and it's so quick. So we just need a couple minutes. Are you ready? Here we go. First, I want you to get calm. And then think about, you're in your office and you've made this decision. You're going to leave in the next 6 months. You've written a letter, you've informed your boss, you've told your colleagues, your family's on board. Everybody knows in the next 6 months you're going to retire. Just picture that. And I want you to feel that 1 hour from now, you've just made the decision and you told everybody, and it's an hour later. How do you feel? Just tune in. Where's your body? Are you tense, or are you kind of like, oh, thank God? What's your breathing like? Are there any colors that you're seeing? If you're still thinking about that green book, what's the green book say on the cover? What's the title of it? How do you feel? What's that energy? Now let's move a little bit further. It's been a week. You've announced to people that you're leaving in 6 months. And so everybody, by a week later, your colleagues have known, the people outside of your company know, friends know, if that circle's expanded. How do you feel? Has anything changed from the 1 hour to now 1 week? Again, think of colors, think of where your body is, just tune in. Tune into your energy. How's it feeling? Are you feeling static, structured, queasy, nervous? Now let's go forward, and it's been a month. So now it's only 5 months away, retirement. You've moved through a month and you've started handing off details to people. You've started writing your checklist by rulers. You've written your checklists for people to hand off. You know what, they start telling them what projects. You're starting to lower that responsibility level. How are you feeling? What are the colors you're seeing? What are the words? What's in your body? What do you see? Okay, we're going to move on. It's 6 months. You're done. You're walking out the door for the last time. How do you feel? Like you're saying goodbye, and maybe there's some sadness, but maybe there's some excitement, maybe there's some relief, maybe there's just like a total relaxation feeling. Do you feel your shoulders going down? What are the colors you're seeing now? How is your breathing now? So you're walking out the doors as your last day. You're done. No responsibilities. You've handed it all off. You've done everything you needed to do. It's on someone else now. It's not on you anymore. How do you feel? Lost? Or do you feel excited? Totally different feelings. There's no right or wrong. How do you feel? Okay, now think, it's been a year. So 6 months ago you retired. It's 6 months into retirement. How are you feeling? Are you thinking about new friends you've met or new experiences you've had? Are you thinking about how your routine is so different? How you don't use an alarm clock anymore? What are some of the things that you're feeling? Again, and I really want you to be focused. The logistics are nice, but I really want you to be thinking, how's your body feel? Again, have the colors brightened or have the colors dimmed? Has your breathing slowed or is it sped up? Are you excited or are you relaxed? What are some of the things? Just check in. And now let's move 10 years. Let's take a big jump. 10 years. You retired 10 years ago and you're looking in the rearview mirror. How do you feel now? What are some of the things you're thinking? What are some of the words you use to describe your life? What's that energy in your body? It's been 10 years. How do you feel in your body? And has it changed from that 1 hour to now 10 years? Has your feelings changed as you start to project out? So maybe you're 60, 70. How do you feel now? When you look back and you say, oh, I've had 10 years of retirement. Do you feel confident? Do you feel thankful? Feel blessed? Or do you feel regret? I don't know. How do you feel? Okay, now we're going to switch gears, go back to present day. And now you're sitting at your desk, and this time you're going to tell everybody you've made the decision you're going to work for the next 10 years. You're not going to retire for another 10 years. You've made the commitment. You're going to take on projects. Maybe there's a big promotion that you're going to take on, and it's a 10-year commitment, and you've decided you're going to stay in this job, in this role, with these responsibilities for the next 10 years. How's it feel? Picture yourself 1 hour from now. You've just told everybody, hey, I'm going to take on this new thing. I'm going to be here for another 10 years. How does that feel? So let's move that an hour, like a week later. So you're a week into your commitment. How does it feel? Again, colors, sounds, vibrations in your body. Does it feel tight? Does it feel heavy? Do you just feel glad that you've made the decision? What are you feeling? Again, no right or wrong. We're just checking in because you're going to feel a marked difference. There's going to be a remarkable difference between what you just did in the last exercise and in this one. What's the difference? What are some of the things that you notice that are different about your experience from I'm going to retire in 6 months to I'm going to work for 10 more years? What's that experience feel like? What are some of the things you're noticing different? Are there different colors now that you can compare them? If you have that green book in your head, has the color of the cover of that shade of green changed? Has it brightened or darkened? Has the book become fatter or skinnier? Use your imagination. Play with it. What's changed? Now let's move it 1 month out. You're committed. You're locked in now. There's 10 more years in front of you. How's that feel? You're thinking about it. If you're 50 now, you're going to be retiring at 60. If you're 60, 65, it's 70, 75 when you retire. How does that feel when you know you're going to be working to that age? How does that feel in your body? Let's go forward a whole year. So now you've got 9 more years left, 9 more years ahead of you. How did that year go in the past? Again, what are the words that you would use? What are the feelings? Again, your body is going to tell you the truth. And now you have contrast, right? You have contrast between what it felt like to make the decision and know that you had 6 months left, and you got to go through that visually in your head and feel all the energy, to feel that walking out on that last day. Now we're contrasting that to how does it feel to know that last day is 10 years down the road. And you've got 9 more left because we're at the 1 year mark. And now let's move to that 10-year mark. Let's go out those 10 years. So now you're 70 or 65, whatever it is. And you're looking back at the last 10 years that you worked. Was it worth it? Was it a great 10 years or was it a delay? How do you feel? Again, colors, vibrations in your body. Is there heaviness? Is there joy? How do you feel you're walking out the door 10 years later? How does that contrast to walking out 6 months from now? What are the differences? Your body knows the truth. Please turn this off. This is so hard to turn off the logic, but what do I do? Especially my accumulators out there. You're like, am I going to be safe? Is it going to be okay? Am I going to have stability? My celebrities, am I going to have people? Am I going to have friends? My connectors? Who am I going to talk to on a daily basis? Like, I get it. Calm all that down. This is going to give you all the truth you need. What did you feel? What were the differences between walking out 6 months from now or walking out the door 10 years from now? What are the differences? Because your body knows the truth. And if you don't think you're intuitive, you are, because I know you felt the difference between those two scenarios. And that's your answer. Stop looking at the pros and cons list. What did your body tell you? Because that's the truth. Because the body is what's going in. Energy is what's going into the second act. And if whatever it is in alignment for your body is what is the right answer for you right now. And you're going to second guess it. I get it. You're going to overanalyze it. Just keep going back to the difference. The contrast, that feeling of walking out the door in 6 months, walking out the door in 10 years. Just keep contrasting that feeling and go for the one that feels lighter, happier, joyful. Not for the one that feels safer, because you're going to land on your feet. My accumulators out there, I'm going to tell you, the universe always looks out for you. You will always land on your feet. You know that. You can look at your past now. If you want some data, go look at your past. Didn't you always land on your feet? Didn't it always work out? Somehow. It always worked out. Relax. That is my biggest wish for you right now, is to trust your body and put that pros and cons list away and go with whatever answer your body told you was the right one for you. And if you're still struggling, which I get it is so hard to turn that brain off and say, but what about this? But what about this? But what about? Trust me, And that's where coaching comes in. That's what I do as a second act coach. If you're really struggling, if you could tell the clarity, but you're still not trusting it, that's where knowing your archetypes comes in. And then one of the things that I do with my clients is help them see what is possible in that second act. We start to go over your energy audit and we go over your archetypes to say, okay, based on what's important to you and where you get energized, what lights you up, these are the things that we suggest you work on in your second act. And we talk about energy and we talk about the environments, the people you're around, and we get you ready to move into that second act. So I hope you have clarity on your body, but if you don't, or if you just don't trust it, you can always, again, take the assessments and then we can work together in a coaching situation to help you get ready and to help you turn off that little brain. Once you know your archetypes, we know the strategies to help you get past some of that analysis paralysis and really start to move into a second act that is joyful. Because I got to tell you, it's beautiful over here. And for everybody, it's going to look completely different. And that's the magic of it. Like, you had a job description in your job, right? You knew what to expect. And that's why you're so worried over here. There's no job description for how to be retired, right? There's no checklist. There's no trainings. It's totally off the cuff. But guess what? It's totally off the cuff. You get to make it up. That is the beauty of it. And I want you to be excited about moving into retirement. This is not a midlife crisis. This is a midlife blessing. This is a chance for you to reinvent yourself in a way that is magical and that lights you up, and to put the responsibilities aside and just be like, wow, it's time for me to be me. It's your turn now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear what did you see when you did your exercises? Drop something in the comments. Let me know. What did your green book look like? Which energized you more, walking out at 6 months or walking out in 10 years? I'd love to hear your feedback. All right, we'll see you in the next one.